Hello friends. We have a status update on the long-awaited home care worker immigration pilot programs. There are two pilot programs, namely, the Home Care Worker Immigration Pilot for Child Care and the Home Care Worker Immigration Pilot for Home Support. These pilot programs offer permanent residence to skilled workers who want to work in home child care or home support in Canada. Each pilot program has two application streams, the workers in Canada and the applicants not working in Canada. The update announced by IRCC is that the workers in Canada stream will open on March 31st, 2025 at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. When the pilot program opens, IRCC will only accept applications for the workers in Canada stream. The stream for applicants not working in Canada will open at a later date. IRCC has announced an application cap for 2025 and will start accepting applications until the stated number of applications is received and will close. So, in this video, we will tell you everything you need to know on how to prepare and get ready so that you will be among those to apply first. Watch until the end before you start asking us questions we have already answered. Let's dive in, shall we? The first question we will address is who can apply. To qualify for the Home Care Worker Immigration Pilots, you must plan to live and work in Canada, outside Quebec, meet the specific requirements for the stream you apply to, meet the language requirement, meet the education requirement, have enough relevant work experience or training, have a job offer as a home child care provider or home support worker, and be admissible to Canada. What are the workers in Canada stream eligibility requirements? To be eligible for the workers in Canada stream, which opens on March 31st, 2025, you must be already living in Canada. You can be physically outside of Canada when you apply, for example, on vacation, but you'll need to show that you normally reside in Canada. Second, you must have been authorized to work in Canada full-time, and any occupation through a valid work permit, maintained status, or any of the relevant public policies. What doesn't count as eligible work authorization for this stream? If you're not authorized to work through one of the above options, you're not eligible for this stream. For example, you're not eligible if you're working without a work permit as a business visitor, and if you are a student, subject to the conditions of your study permit. Please get this straight, particularly for visitors in Canada. You will remember that the public policy that allowed visitors in Canada to obtain a work permit ended sometime in 2024. So, you may not be able to apply through this stream, but you can apply through the Outside Canada stream coming up later on. If you're currently living in Canada but no longer have work authorization, you may still be eligible for the pilots under a public policy. Moving on to the language proficiency test requirements, you must take a language test to prove you meet the minimum level 4 for all 4 language skills: writing, reading, listening, and speaking in English or French. Next is education requirements. You must have completed the equivalent of a Canadian high school diploma or higher. If you completed your education outside Canada, you'll need to get your education credential assessed to show that it's equal to a Canadian high school diploma or higher. You need to get your educational credentials assessed starting from your high school certificate up to the highest post-secondary education you completed outside Canada. Let's talk about work experience or training requirements. To qualify for the Home Care Worker Immigration Pilots, you must have a recent and relevant work experience or a recent and relevant training credential. If you have both work experience and training, you can submit proof of both. Depending on which pilot you apply to, child care or home support, you'll need work experience or training in certain national occupational classifications, NOCs. You must have at least 6 months of work experience, gained within or outside Canada. The work experience must be in one or both of the NOCs of the pilot you apply for. For the child care option, you need to meet the requirements for the Home Child Care Providers, NOC 44100. Experience as a foster parent doesn't count. or the Early Childhood Educators and Assistants, NOC 42202. Experience as an early childhood educator, daycare teacher, or supervisor doesn't count. For the home support option, you have the home support workers, caregivers, and related occupations, NOC 44101, and the nurse aides, orderlies, and patient service associates, NOC 33102. Work experience in NOC 33102 gained in an institutional setting may be eligible. In the NOCs of one pilot, either child care or home support. You can have a mix of occupations only within the same pilot. For example, under child care, your experience can include both child care providers and early childhood assistants. You should match the NOC job description and include most of the main duties listed under the NOC. You must have been gained since you were 18 years or older and have been gained within the 3 years before you apply. Any experience you gain after applying doesn't count. You must complete all the work experience before applying, or your application will be refused. What does not count as work experience? The work experience gained as a full-time student, the work experience you gained while you were self-employed, the periods of unemployment, as well as long-term sickness or parental leave do not count as relevant experience. Training. You must have received a credential for relevant training of at least 6 months within or outside Canada. The training must be targeted towards the following NOCs. Child care. That is the home child care providers, NOC 44100, and early childhood educators and assistants, NOC 42202. This does not include early childhood educators, daycare teachers, and supervisors. Take good note of this. If you completed this training outside Canada, you don't need an educational credential assessment unless you're also using the training to meet the education requirement. What does not count as training? A training that was targeted towards occupations other than those listed above, for example, training in the medical field, a training that was done mainly online or on-the-job training. Obviously, this will rule out most of the online caregiver courses. Let's move to the getting a job offer requirement. Before you apply, you need to find a job and secure a genuine job offer that meets all the requirements for your application as a home child care provider or home support worker. For the job offer, you must be likely to accept the job offer and be able to perform the job duties. IRCC will review things like your past training and experience to determine this. The job must be in the NOC of the pilot you applied for, either as a home child care provider, NOC 44100, and remember that the location can't be an institutional setting such as a daycare, or the home support workers, caregivers, and related occupations, NOC 44101. Although work experience and training in these NOCs may be eligible, IRCC will not accept job offers for early childhood educators and assistants, NOC 42202, nurse aides, orderlies, and patient service associates, NOC 33102. The job offer must be in Canada, outside Quebec, full-time and continuous work, meaning at least 30 hours of paid work per week and permanent employment. There is no set end date. The job offer must include your hourly wage, employment requirements, and a description of the main duties. It must be genuine, meaning there's a real need to hire you. The employer can fulfill the terms of the job, including paying you. The employer follows all the rules and laws set by IRCC, federal and provincial legislation. Your wage must be equal to or higher than the job bank's median wage for the occupation listed on your job offer in the province or territory of employment. If there is no provincial or territorial median wage, use the national one. If the employer's workers have a union, the rules of the collective agreement apply. If your employer is a business or nonprofit organization, they must have been providing the same type of care services as the job for at least 1 year before the job offer was made. What would not count as an eligible employer? The employer can't be a recruitment or placement agency, an embassy, a high commission or a consulate, or a person accredited to these missions in Canada, for example, a diplomat. An employer found non-compliant, yourself, self-employed, or your spouse, common law partner, parent, grandparent, or child. Your employer must complete, sign, and give you the employment information form so you can include it in your application. Your employer must sign this form either digitally or by hand, and you'll upload it as part of your online application, along with your job offer. IRCC may send you a letter to give to your employer, asking them to send extra proof that the job is genuine and the employer is eligible. Let us discuss further on who is eligible to be an employer. To hire through the pilots, you, the potential employer, must be a private household, a business or nonprofit organization. If it is a business or nonprofit organization, they must have a direct relationship with the employee, meaning they must be directly responsible for hiring the employee, managing work conditions, paying the employee, and been providing the same type of care services as the job being offered for at least 1 year before the job offer was made. This includes organizations that directly hire full-time workers to provide short-term or occasional home care for those who are semi-independent or recovering from an injury or illness, for example, home health care service providers, home care support service providers, direct care agencies, personal care services in residential settings, and pediatric home health care service providers. The employer must also have a Canada Revenue Agency business number, or get one before they make the job offer, have a genuine need to hire the applicant, be able to fulfill the terms of the employment, including paying the applicant, follow all the rules and laws set by IRCC, federal and provincial legislation. How to apply? As the Workers in Canada stream opens March 31st, 2025, the deadline for this intake year is March 30th, 2026. IRCC will accept the following number of applications. For the Home Care Worker Immigration Pilot Child Care Workers in Canada category, IRCC will accept 2,350 online and 260 in alternate formats. For the out-of-status and unauthorized workers, they will accept 125 online and 15 in alternate formats. Home Care Worker Immigration Pilot Home Support Workers in Canada category, IRCC will accept 2,350 online and 260 in alternate formats. For the out-of-status and unauthorized workers, they will accept 125 online and 15 in alternate formats. Get ready before the pilots open. IRCC will accept new applications starting March 31st, 2025 at 10 a.m. Eastern Time until they reach the caps. If the caps are reached, they will reset on March 31st, 2026. Prepare as much as possible before the pilots open, in case the caps are reached quickly. So that you know, the application fees range from $1,525 and up, depending on the composition of your family. That's as much as we have for you today. Obviously, the time is getting close. Feel free to reach out to Chugo Immigrations if you need professional assistance with any aspect of the application. Good luck. Thanks for watching.